Hello guys, welcome to the channel. So I got this nice little package in the mail. Another surprise for the Roxor. Let's go ahead and open up the package, see what we got in there. We got that little warning label, some shipping information, and then that little holder. And there is our ultra-guage. It comes sealed in that little baggie which says once removed, ultra-guage cannot be returned. Kind of a warranty seal. And pretty much that's all there is to it. That's the device with its cable, and it's sealed in that little bag. Pretty simple, straightforward packaging, stress-free, light little device. And without further ado, let's take it over to the Roxor. But first, we need to get the Roxor started. Today it's it's above freezing in any case, but close to freezing. So we don't expect to have any issues with the Roxor. Turn the key to on, let it warm up. You hear the fuel pump prime up, and crank. Nice. Awesome. Look at the smoke. Nice. That was awesome. And here we'll take a look from inside. Crank it. You got everything running. What's so weird is you look at my speedometer, it's pegged somewhere up there. No matter of fact, it's actually disconnected, so that allows me to go beyond 45 miles per hour without having a tune or flashing my ECU. So here we have a device, the ultra-guage, and you need an OBD-2 adapter in order to connect this to your Roxor. So that's the connector is somewhere in there. That's one of the switches from the gauge. No, those blanks, I took it out, and that is your OBD-2 connector there in the bag. It has like an orange cap. I've taken off the orange cap, and that's what it looks like. So we're gonna take off that little piece of wire there that's holding the cable together, the cable tie. Just note how long the length of cabling you have with this reader. It's amazing. So you can place it quite a ways from where you have your OBD-2 connector. So we use that little OBD-2 adapter cable that you can get from dirtlegal.com. They carry those cables. They can get it from them for very cheap. So this is the ultra-guage, and it's booting up. You will notice this one talks about a Honda. When you're ordering, you can specify what vehicle you're gonna be using it for primarily. It asks for the engine size, the fuel tank capacity, and that's all used to estimate, distance to empty. It's quite a nifty little unit. I really love the brightness of the screen, and the fact that it can display much more information on each screen. So that's just one of the screens, and it has about, I believe, 8 programmable screens. So it makes it easy to swap between modes. Let's say you take your car out on the racetrack and you want to have the primary two displays you see there on top. As you can see, it's bright daylight, and you can easily see your screen, read out from the screen. So like I was saying, you have 8 of those primary screens. Behind the unit you have a menu button, and then you also have an up and down toggle buttons. If you toggle up or down, that takes you between the screens, which is almost like pages. And then the menu would actually allow you to select each screen, and then you can go there and change whatever you want to have displayed. And having the screens pre-programmed, you can see it lets you toggle between various pages, and you can see what exactly you want. Let's say you take your car out on the track and you want to see, let's say, your engine RPM and your speed as the two primary functions. Then you can do that. And then let's say as soon as you get off the track, then you have to do a 1,000-mile drive to some other place. Then you can actually monitor like your boost pressure and your coolant pressure. So pre-programming the screens helps, so that you can toggle back and forth, and you have 8 of those programmable screens or pages. So here I just had the unit for the very first time. I still did not know exactly what I was doing. I was just scrolling through to see some of those functions. So those are the pages I was talking about. I was talking about screens, but they are actually pages, and you select each page, and then you can put whatever function you want to be displayed. And I believe you can have up to 7 functions per page, which can be displayed simultaneously, with 2 of those functions usually being the principal ones that will display at the top of the screen and in large characters. In addition to displaying being a digital gauge, this unit, this ultra-guage, also has engine diagnostic function. So you can read your engine codes, and you can clear those codes out from this unit. On the left side behind the unit, you have the menu button, which you use to select functions. And then on the right side you have the up and down arrow functions, which you can use to change whatever function you've selected, or you can use it to toggle between functions. So there I use the up and down arrow buttons to select what I want displayed, and I can go up to 7 different parameters. And there you have 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one I've just programmed it. So I scroll using the up and down on the right, and then I select with the menu on my left using my left index finger. And then I go to the right and I select what position that should be, and I accept the number with the left menu button. So you see it displays a whole array of information, including the turbo boost, manifold air pressure, coolant temperature, engine RPM, instantaneous speed. There's just a whole bunch of information that you can have displayed. And then you also can have use the metric system, or you can use the standard system, SAE. So you can have information displayed, speed for example in kilometers per hour or miles per hour. So like I said, here I am still meeting and exploring the unit for the very first time. So this just shows some of the functions that are available on this unit. And for the price point, I think this is one of the best gauges you can have for the Mahindra Roxor. The gauge that we have, that one unit with a round bezel, it displays very basic information, which would be basically your engine RPM, the amount of fuel in your fuel tank, and also your speed. In addition to those, you also have a few other indicators which don't really give you much information, like your oil pressure light. It just simply tells you have enough oil pressure, but it doesn't tell you if it's dropping, if it's too high. Same with your coolant. You could only find out when your engine is overheating. So yeah, those functions can be displayed on your on the gauge that comes stock on the Mahindra Roxor. But for the kinds of uses most people would put these units to, it just helps to have a little bit more information available, and that's why I got the ultra-guage. So there, basically I'm just stepping on the gas and comparing the RPMs displayed on the ultra-guage with the Mahindra Roxor stock gauge. And there I'm just trying to mock and try to see where would be the best place to mount the gauge, either directly in front of the driver or on top of the gauge that comes with the Roxor. That looks like a very nice and promising location. That way the passenger, let's say you're doing an endurance race, your passenger can also glance over and see if something is out of whack. The unit, also the ultra-guage, has alarms, so it would alarm if certain parameters go beyond what you have preset. Previously I had a Scangauge II, and that's what it looks like compared to the ultra-guage side by side. Scangauge II is another excellent unit, but the amount and the way it displays information does not lend itself to be used in the way I would love to have a gauge on my Roxor. The ultra-guage fits the bill better. So that's what the two units look like side by side. Thanks for watching, and let me know what your thoughts are between the Scangauge II and the ultra-guage. See you guys on the next video.